What's up everyone? Sharky's back once again with another classified review for you, and today we're going to be looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Heavy Duty. So let's effing go. Alright, so he is number 150 in the line. We're going to have a nice look at the artwork here. I know some of you like that. You can see his Bulls medallion hanging from the chain around his neck. I'm going to flip it over to the little back here, and you get a look at the render. And you'll see a couple of scallywags hiding up here in the shadows. I don't think we've confirmed who they are yet, have we? I don't know. I could be forgetting. Let me know in the comments. Here's a look at some of the aspects of the figure, mumbo jumbo, yada yada. Then we're going to go down to our skill sets, and we'll start with the first one, and that is ordnance, and he is a level 3. The next one is heavy weapons, and he is a level 4. The next one is artillery, and he's a level 3. And the next one is anti-armor, and he is a level 3, which makes total sense when you consider that the character's primary specialty is a laser weapons systems operator, and his secondary is indirect fire infantryman, which makes him kind of part of a mortar squad. So it falls in line with the missile firing aspect of this assembly, which we're going to get into shortly. If you're discovering my channel for the first time and so far you're enjoying what you see, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share this with your friends. This is not the first time that I've gotten something in before other parts of the world have got it, and it won't be the last time. So if you're not subscribed to me, you're going to miss out on first looks at some figures. It just is what it is. I don't make the rules, I just play the game. Shout out to Pop Toys for hooking me up with this fig. Store link in the description. A couple of fun facts about this guy. I did a little count, and there has been 13, and this came as a surprise to me, 13 releases of the heavy duty character since the first official release in 91. That is more figures of heavy duty than there is of Alpine, Quick Kick, or Bazooka. Yep, there you go. Surprising, huh? 3 iconic characters, and yet this guy's gotten a lot more screen time, so to speak. Another fun fact about this guy is that he is a licensed operator of the vehicle, the Hammer. If you remember, the Hammer came out in the vintage line. It is an awesome vehicle. I can't wait till the day that they get around to doing that in Classified, because it would be awesome to have. But I'm going to crack this open. We're going to have a look at everything, so let's get into that. All right, straight off the bat, we're going to get stuck into the accessories, because there is a lot to get stuck into. Starting with one of the 2 rocket pods, which you'll see has printed on the side, M202 quad burst, invention number 2 in D minor, which is a reference to the fact that he is a classically trained guitarist. And I'm not too sure what that piece of music is, but that's what it references. And it looks really nice on there. The whole unit looks really nice, and if you're anything like me right now, you're also getting Commando vibes. So there's 2 of these, and they are really nicely constructed. I don't see any issues with the paint at all on that one. We'll check out the other one. Yep, all good there. No issues whatsoever. Next up, you get a set of earphones. Now these are a little flimsy, but I guess they'll just sit over his head once we put them on. And there's not a great amount of detail to them other than what you can see. They're nice enough, but nothing flash. He also comes with a microphone attachment. It might be a bit hard to see here. Let me see if I can get it. I believe it's the microphone. Oh, it might be the reticle actually for his eye. It's a bit hard to see that there. Let me see if I can lock on that for you. But there is some detailing on there. I'll have to suss. Yeah, that is for the eye. You can see that on the back of the box there. So that, of course, homages the original figure, which was a lot more prominent in terms of it being red. And I don't think I ever had that figure. I've been racking my brain. When that came out in '91, I was still collecting Joes, but not as avidly. So, yeah, I can't recall. I don't feel like I did. And if I did, then that memory is lost to time. Then you have this part of his rocket desk, and I believe that sits underneath the main assembly, and you can attach the laser cannons to it. I don't think the rocket pods will fit on there, but you know what? We'll just see. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like they're going. Yeah, it's for the front. It's for the front cannons, and there's not a great amount of detailing on this. It's pretty basic, but that's what it is. Speaking of the cannons, you can see here he's got the two shoulder mounts. Now, I believe that they can also be fitted to this part too as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I think they're a little bit off in terms of, I don't know if they're supposed to be like that or if that's bent. It looks bent to me. The barrel, I don't know if the barrel should be bent, but they're both a little warped. I guess once I'll pop them on, we'll get a better idea of that. But yeah, it's odd. It could be the way that they're supposed to sit. I'm not too sure. We'll find out more once we get stuck into that. He comes with a whole slew of rockets and blast effects. I went blank there for a second. There's also a couple more of those sitting in here, which I have not taken out of the plastic bubble yet, but I will. And as you can see, they look pretty similar to the ones that came with Metalhead, but just in a different color. So let's do a comparison. I believe they are exactly the same, just a different deco. Yep, they are. Next up, the second head sculpt. Now, I completely forgot that this came with two heads, so this was a pleasant surprise when I picked this up, and I'm digging it. The flat top, the lines in the fade, the earrings on both ears are a nice touch, and just overall the face sculpt looks pretty good to me. I don't see any issues with it. Doesn't look wonky-eyed. Really nice. It's a really nice job. And I think I prefer it over the hat version, which we'll see when we look at the figure. He also comes with two of these knives, and they're nice. I also like the fact that you get a pair of punching fists, because once you're out of rockets, you're going to have to rely on something else besides harsh language, and your brute force is going to need to come into play. So it's a nice little addition. Last but most certainly not least is this piece of hardware, and my first impressions of it are it just looks fantastic. I haven't put it on the figure yet, but it feels like it's going to sit nice and flush. Got the backpack peg here. This comes down. This has got some really nice movement to it. It's very fluid, but it's not loose. It's quite firm. I'm putting a small amount of pressure on it. You can see it sits nicely just down like that. But look at some of the detail. So on the back here, man portable heavy weapon system. And then you've got a readout, and that is way too hard for me to try and decipher, but I believe this was a musical note. I think Lenny said in one of the streams. I could be wrong. I might be having an acid flashback. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was, which is cool. Fits the character. I dig it. You've got these mounted cannons here. I don't know if they come off. Let's find out. I'll give it a... Yep, they do. Awesome. So they are interchangeable. Fantastic. And they sit nice and flush on there as well. They're not loose at all. So you can have a look, see, they're sitting in there well. Look at the front part of this, and this straight up gives me Aliens vibes, and thinking of Vasquez and what's his name? The one with the scar on his face. Her boyfriend, basically. You know who I'm talking about. For some reason, it just reminds me of that. And if they didn't use that as some sort of inspiration, then I guess I could be very wrong. But it definitely gives off those vibes. You've got some nice detailing on the control sticks here, and also along here for like the leather, I guess you could say like a rest. So it's not, you know, he's not carrying a nice heavy piece of hardware on his bare arms. You got to avoid that chafe, folks. Avoid that chafe. Yeah, it's solid, and I look forward to seeing what this looks like on the figure itself in a minute. But yeah, this little part here is like a little satchel. It doesn't open, I don't believe. Not a satchel, like a stow box. Yeah, it's just a fixed part of the assembly, but it is nice nonetheless. All right, so let's take a look at the figure, and we will start with the face sculpt. And it feels like that's a little bit blurry. There we go, that's better, thank you, phone. And as you can see, some nice detailing in the goatee. This hat is not removable. It is part of the head sculpt. And you've got the earrings once again. And on the back of the cap, you've got shred head, which I think is a bit cheesy personally, but sure, whatever. But what I do love is this Bulls medallion. Obviously, it is a nod to the character being from Chicago, which is one of my favorite cities in the States, and of course home to my beloved Chicago Bulls. You can take this off, of course, when you take the head off, but I'll see if I can give you a closer look at it. It's really nice, and it sits pretty flush, doesn't get in the way. This bandolier, I dare say, is removable, hopefully, but let's have a look. Have they made it removable? Oh, probably not. Funnily enough, they've brought back him having one of the Joe Pros, so this is an old piece. I don't know off the top of my head who this is from, but I'm sure I can decipher it. I had a quick look in the cabinets and I couldn't see anyone that has the same one, so maybe it is a new piece or it's off someone that I don't have, but it doesn't feel new. Anyway, you know what? I'm going to take it off for the sake of this exercise. And I'm going to throw on the alternate head so you can have a look at that to see how that looks. And automatically, just by taking the bandolier off and changing the head, it just looks like a different figure in a lot of respects. Some might say it even looks like it could be a Street Humans figure, but I digress. Let's have a look at the articulation while we're here. Butterfly joints are super smooth, like that's an anomaly. That one as well. Wow, okay, I was not expecting that. Yeah, color me shocked there. Those arms are moving really nicely. Upper swivel's good. Upper swivel's good. He can get into a full T-pose as well. He can look this far down and that far up, which isn't too bad, I guess, for someone who's shooting rockets. You know, could be worse. pinless elbows, no problems there. He has a watch, which is a little bit hard to get into focus, but let's see if I can make that a bit bigger. Anyone read the time? Might be easier if I turn it this way, won't it? 7. I can't. Does that say beats per minute? That's very cool. It's not a watch. Okay, cool. Again, another little nice touch to tie in with his musical background. I've noticed already that this belt here is a little loose, but it's no biggie, I guess. It does sit flush there, but it's moving around a little bit. He's got some detailing on there. Again, this feels like an old piece, but feel free to correct me in the comments because there's people out there who know a lot of stuff and I like learning. Camo looks great on the legs. It's almost like a digi camo, which from a distance you can't even really sort of see, but up close you can see it's very prominent. That's very cool. Very cool. So it's got, a classified futuristic sort of style element to it. Thigh swivel's beautiful. Same here. Legs are moving like butter. Wow. It could also be that it's warm and he's had some time to loosen up in this room, but yeah, it's quite odd. Boot cut is there, no problems there, and there. Feet articulation like so. His arms back down. See how well he stands in from the jump. He's a bit. Boom. That's the figure. Let's kit him out. All right. So first up, it's attached this piece here. And you can just see that these little pegs on each side of it just go into here. It probably will come out easily. Let's have a look. Yep. No problems there. And we're just going to go up like that. And you want it sitting around that way. Next up is the rocker pods. So just let me get this in the right position. So these are both suited for either right or left. So you're going to want those to be like so. Hang on a second. Like so. All right, so this part to the back, and it should clip on just like that. And that's on, and that's not going anywhere. All right, so I'll throw the other one on while we're here. Keen to hear what you guys think of this figure once it's all said and done, because I've already got some thoughts about it, which I will save for my summary in the end. And that is how your assembly should look. It's badass. And then we're going to take these and we're going to attach these on to here like so. Now, I've just noticed something. That's on there like that, right? See this here? There should be something that feeds into there. And looking at the box, see those belts? I did not see any belt with this package. So let me double check that real quick. All right, I've had a look in both of the plastic bubble inserts and inside the cardboard box itself, and there is nothing that looks like that. So maybe they did away with it after the render was done? I don't know. That's interesting. I don't think that's been highlighted before until now. Odd, but yeah, there's nothing. See, there's like there's even like a little chute for the ammo to go in there and into there, and that's on both sides and on both weapons. That's really odd, unless I just didn't have them packaged with mine. So I just had a look on the Hasbro website, and in all the images there was no sign of them. So they must have done away with them. That will be a question, I guess, that gets asked at some point, but there you go. Hasbro anomalies, people. I'm just going to go ahead and clip that on there, and you can see that is sitting nicely. But let's get this rig on this dude and see how he looks all in all. Wow. This is one of the most dynamic classified figures to date. Yeah. If he's going to stand well with this, it's going to be a shock. I'm just going to try this for the first time. Wow. That's crazy. And I haven't even got like the missiles in there yet, or like played around much with, this. I've just literally thrown it on him and it's sitting pretty flush. As you can see, he's even got the chain and the bandolier still on, and there is no issue with that coming off. So that's awesome. It looks fantastic, and yeah. Wow, what a figure. Anyway, let's try the missiles and a couple other things, and we'll go from there. All right, so I've gone ahead and done a couple of things here. One of them is just fallen off, but we'll get to that in a second. So you can see that I've used a Viper Blast Effects in the cannon here, and that sits in there well. Two of the Blast Effects and rockets that come with the figure in those ports there, and you'll see that the metalhead bigger one and the rocket attached fit in there no problems. And in terms of rockets falling out, one sitting snug in there, the other one, as you can see, just fell out. And I tried a Gridiron Studios blast effect in that port, and it's sitting, but it's probably going to fall out. So there's a look at that. Let's see again how he stands. But before I do that, I just will say one thing that's cool. The joystick controllers here can actually move with his hands. So you can, let's see if I can get a better look at that for you. You can get them to move into the positions that you want, which is a solid touch as far as I'm concerned. In terms of standing him, again, with all that stuff on there, you'll see that it is not problematic at all. Here's a more slimmed down look if you just want him to go into battle with a couple of giant arm cannons. There you go. And I figured we will take the rocket pods and attach them up here. Boom. That's sitting flush. That's a good look. And of course he could even, I'd say, be able to potentially hold that. It might be a bit awkward actually. Yeah, it's going to be a bit awkward for him to reach, but the intention is there. So you can see what they look like up there, giving you another dynamic look. And that's without these attached, the mini Gatlings. And we'll see again how well he stands. Whooshka, no issues. And if you're anything like me, you wanted to see how he looked carrying the rocket pod like we've seen in the product imagery, and it does sit well, not perfect. One thing I will say is that these handles are quite flexible, so I'd be careful with those. Don't go too ham on trying to get them into his hands. Just take your time, just work it in, just tap tappy, and yeah, that's the rocket pod. Of course you could have him firing too, which I think would be a bit outlandish, but this is G.I. Joe. You can do whatever the heck you want with your toys, can't you? But yeah, it does look cool. And now you can see how he fares in the height and bulk departments. with a couple of his contemporary heavy hitters in Roadblock and Bazooka. And you can see that he does blend in really well with them, even with his ostentatious Patriots jersey and Roadblock rocking the camo singlet. Without all the extra stuff, he looks just like a soldier, like with a cut-off shirt. Gives you Nam vibes, if you ask me. But let's check him out with a couple of other different figures. Alright, I figured I'd throw him up next to Metalhead. It took a lot longer to pose than what he did. And a Cobra Trooper that has the gridiron mortar set, just to have a bit of a different look going on. And yeah, again, I didn't have to do anything to pose him. I just stood him down after I'd put that on. And that's with the Gatlings up. These are pointed down, no fiddling around. Your figure is really well weighted. It is definitely a strong suit of it. I realized that I hadn't shown you the targeting system eyepiece, and putting it on is a bit fiddly. It just sits on the back of his head over his ear, but it's not very tight. You can see even just then it just moved, and it probably would require some, yeah, it just wants to fall off, some heating up to really get it to sit in place. I kind of feel like it's a bit average, to be honest. As for the earphones, they sit over just like so. They seem to be staying on well, and they look all right. And you know, I guess they're purposeful considering what he does, but take them or leave them, in my opinion. So you can see, even sans all equipment, he does pose well, and he looks like a badass as he socks it to the Saw Viper here. Let's be honest, he had it coming, so whatevs. But yeah, dynamic poses for a figure that has so many accessories. Gotta love that. And here you can see he's just in another firing position. You've got the rocket pod, this time launching 3 rockets, and he's just taking a tumble. Let's try this again, shall we? You'll be able to see, if he doesn't fall over, that the eyepiece sits better on his head with the hat, as you can rest the back part of it here on the brim of the cap. So unlike the hatless head, that's probably your best bet. But be mindful that it is still pretty loose. You might need to heat it up. It will fall off. So there is that. Another little issue I did have when changing the fists. This has never happened to me before with any classified figure, but this one came out of its socket. I'm sure this is not some sort of anomaly. I'm sure it's happened to some of you before, but that was a first for me. So I just had to pluck it out. I don't know if that's broken or not, but I can't seem to get it to clasp back on, so I'll have to have a look at that. So that's something to be mindful of too. So that's it, folks. That's Heavy Duty. In summary, I'm impressed. Far more impressed than I anticipated I would be. And yeah, it's an exceptional set. Lenny and Co have gone way and above beyond than what I expected for this. It makes Raptor look very basic. The bang for your buck is there for a deluxe price point. You've got multiple options, some of which of course I've already shown you. Not an iconic character really, in my opinion, unless you're really a big fan of Rise of Cobra, but he's a fantastic addition to the line, and I'm going to go on the record and say it that they're already, and I know this is very early in the year for me to say this, but the Joe team already got a Figure of the Year candidate sitting in front of me right here. But that's the wrap. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, if this is your first time watching my content, appreciate you checking it out. Go back and check out my other stuff. I've recently done a heap of Monster Force stuff and other classifieds. And like I've said before, I get stuff early because I live in Australia. It just is what it is. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on your way out, and until next time, take care, enjoy your toys, and say hi to your dogs for me.